Hello, and welcome to the Gaia update for the Gemini solar eclipse that's happening on Thursday, June 10th, 2021. So this solar eclipse in Gemini is such an incredibly powerful lining up yet again of the stars in the sky, the planets and the stars in the sky for us. Wow. Well, eclipses in general are aligning up. It's when they happen, the full moon or the new moon happens around the nodes of the moon. And that's the outer edges of the orbit. And so when that happens, the sun and the moon and the earth align up and create the eclipses. So there's an energy of lining up. And indeed, with Mercury Retrograde happening in Gemini, for the eclipse season, we are looking at how do we line up? We've been off kilter, off timelines, nothing's working. And so this is a year, the Mercury retrograde in Gemini is a year after the Venus retrograde in Gemini, when we started to feel this misdirection feeling with all the events in the world. Now things are starting to click back into place and lining up. So we're being shown exactly what is keeping us from moving forward. Because the nodes of the moon, the north node is about how are we going to get to where we're going? South node, what's holding us back from the past? And so this eclipse, Gemini eclipse, is about trying to point in the right direction, trying to line up with that divine timeline and get back on our horse of our spiritual quest with the healing of this South Node Sagittarius issues. So this eclipse is powerful because we have yet another, this whole 2021 and last year too, we had a lot of these lining up with the planets all at a certain degree of the signs making a star pattern. And again, we have that because Venus will be at 10 degrees of Cancer. And that will put it one sign over from the North Node in Gemini. And then we've got Uranus at 12 degrees Taurus. We've got Chiron coming 12 degrees, Chiron at 12 degrees Aries, and then Saturn at 13 degrees Aquarius. So we've got this lining up, and what that does is create lots of little transits. That means these interaction between the planets, sextiles and semi-sextiles. So three big sextiles and for semi-sextiles as these planets interact with each other. So I just wanted to paint the picture of that as this lining up is trying to occur in our lives. It's like, yeah, but Mercury's retrograde, but maybe that's exactly the energy we need to psychically rearrange our whole reality to be able to line up with that divine timeline. So this is the big energy, is that not just as Mercury retrograde, right? But it's in this ongoing, never-ending square with Neptune. And Neptune as this ruler of Pisces, at home in Pisces, speaking to the Piscean age, speaking to what's keeping us from resolving the Piscean age. And this definitely has to do with the main issue of our time, which is mind control through technology. Because Pisces rules the energy of oneness consciousness, and the mind control energies are using, and in fact, the whole Piscean age was about using religious feeling, spiritual feeling, to control humanity through religious structures. And now this is being done through technological mind control on the masses. And this is what, if it's like, why are people acting this way and what's going on? This is why. But Mercury is the mind, and at home in Gemini, it's an activated mind, a brilliant mind. It's about solutions to puzzles. And so in square to Neptune in Pisces, it's about breaking the mind control grid And that's kind of the energy of it. It's like you could use it to go deeper into denial of those deeper feelings, escapism, running away. Are you done running now? Are you ready to come back home to peace within your being? You know, you can use this to escape, or you can use this to break free from the lower matrix. So it'll be interesting to see, because we're coming up, so leading up to this eclipse, Mercury will be having its third square to Neptune. And it's having its second square to Neptune, but the third square to Neptune will be happening that first week of July. And so that'll be interesting, because that'll be kind of like, okay, the evidence or the culmination or the completion energy of whether or not you use this time to face the music, to be present with your deepest truths and break out of the mind control and the programming over generational programming. So a big thing that's happening right now is a massive psychic purge of generational programming on a DNA level. You're doing this. You don't know you're doing it, but it's part of your mission and purpose. And so this like shedding of the ancestral false beliefs, programs that keep us disconnected. And this is such a huge energy, because we've got Mars coming to the end degrees of Cancer. That means that leading up to this eclipse, this new moon in Gemini eclipse, Mars in Cancer will be exactly opposite Pluto. Sorry, I said square in my last video. Opposite Pluto in Capricorn. And this is a really powerful energy of the power of nurturing. And then facing off in opposition to structures of control around power. And indeed, if you look at the deep core issue of what has kept humanity as prisoners and slaves from their own power, is this disconnection from the mother, from feeling loved and safe and held from our earth. This is a long agenda, right? And it goes right along with the reptilian programs, and the lack of nurturing, the lack of connection. So what this whole scamdemic has showed us is that the most powerful thing for humanity is human connection. And we know this. We know that science has shown us that human babies and mammals in general, right, but particularly humans, cannot thrive without connection. And in order to keep people in trauma and drama and mind control, you've got to keep them disconnected. And there's a long-term agenda right now, a long-held agenda playing out in this medical tyranny to disconnect us from each other. Disconnect us from the power of healing within us, our own life force, which is that feeling of connection to something greater, which we're a part of, but creator or God, side effect of this poison injection of artificial intelligence tracking software and hardware. One of the side effects is feeling disconnected from God. And this is the core essence, right? You cannot program and control humans if they feel connected. So this is the agenda. But you know what? It's in plain sight now. This has been going on for thousands of years, but now it's in plain sight, and we can take the reins back and we say, you want us disconnected. Okay, so how do we heal this? How do we get out of this? How do we get to the Aquarian age? Come back into connection. So this is playing out in this Mars and Cancer, just this deep, profound desire to come back into connection to the force of nurturing, the power of that water about to break the dam. And the dam is the structures of power and control, political, religious, throughout time, that have sought to keep humanity scared of its own power and so disconnected from its own power. And this is what's turning. And now, so see how as a supernova soul, advanced soul, that you've already been fully come into your psychic spiritual power. That's your definition of an advanced soul. You're disconnected from it now. But it's coming back in. And it's more powerful than anything else. And so that Mars in Cancer opposite Pluto in Capricorn is highlighting all contractual arrangements where we've given our power away. And indeed, the Cancer Capricorn axis is so on the table with this, because Capricorn is the structures of authority, and it's like the father energy, and Cancer is the nurturing and the mother energy. Now, because humans are so needy, like they have so much need of connection in order to thrive. Where like a horse is born and it kind of just starts walking and goes and gets to its mom and gets the milk, right? Humans totally helpless, right? And this puts humans in a position to give their power away, And the Cancer Capricorn axis is like, oh, okay, well, we'll disconnect you from, kind of this agenda to disconnect from that feeling of connection to source, connection to God, and through trauma programming and disconnection to the mother, to source, to feeling loved and cared for. And so we have given up our power. The Cancer Capricorn axis, particularly with Pluto there, speaks to where we've given up our power in order to get nurturing. And isn't this the story of the whole narcissist agenda of like, well, we have what you need. The church has what you need. You got to pay us taxes and maybe you'll get to God after you're punished, and it's like, so we've all, especially as supernova souls, given up our autonomy, our power, and our connection in order to be a part of the group, to be a part of the community. That's another thing about humans. They're like group animals. And so we're kind of having to go to these places of isolation through this whole experience, and understanding that this is the core distortion that's allowed humanity to get to this place. And supernova souls, you understand this intimately. And when you open up to the floodgates of love that's available to you in your very own being, by remembering who you are and loving those darkest places, loving those darkest distortions of your ancestry that you came here to witness and release. And as you release them, they are released. No wonder it's been so hard. Long road of healing, I know. But that energy right now is, the astrology and the energetic, where we're going through the galaxy, photon belt or whatever, it's like just causing a massive psychic purge. But see, our psyche isn't just our psyche. Our psyche is connected to our emotions and our physical body. And so we're going through upheavals on massive levels, psychic levels, emotional levels, and physical levels as this purge happens. And we can use the energy of this purge to be that medicine, bring the light to the darkest places of our genealogy. We've all had to play host. This is so interesting because the story of the way they want us to feel, the worm program and the low self-worth that's been programmed into humanity, and like that somehow fallen from grace and not good enough, something to make up for. That whole program is, it's all connected and keeping us from being able to receive the God light that we're made from and a part of back into our life in real terms. But you have that closer access. The reason why it's been so hard for you is because you have more access to this God molecule, to this God consciousness. And so when we clear and allow the psychic purge and be the witness, we can bring the healing love and light back into life by claiming back our truth as advanced souls, claiming back our power, And so this eclipse is kind of like all the issues put together in this mystical way of like the mind control of the Piscean age, the disconnection from the mother, the authority contracts where, okay, so this is where I was getting to before. It's that there's this worm program of low self-worth in humanity. And that is an interesting energy because it's got this overlay of that humans are the virus, that humans are the infection on the planet. We're just bottom feeders. We're just here, just useless eaters taking up space, and that we're a parasite on the planet. And it's exactly like all of this massive corruption that's been happening politically in our world. And those same people that are doing this corruption are accusing everybody else of doing it, of what they're doing. It's this projection that happens in the narcissist's reality, right? And the truth is that we've been playing host to the parasite that is the dark forces, right? And we had to in order to get here. We had to play host. It's part of the whole journey. But now this astrology is like, ooh, clean that out of there. That does not fit you. Don't go down there. They want everything right now. Both sides of every story is trying to get you to feel like dog crap. But what's really happening is rapid psychic healing and massive amounts of light coming in, right? So that's this energy leading up to this eclipse is we've got that Mars opposite Pluto bringing up the authority energies and the power of nurturing. And it's like nothing can stop this. Waking up and immediately waking up. When you see a truth, it's not like you can be like, well, I don't know, I'm going to explore this. You try to, right? But you can't unsee it. You can't go backwards. You can't close the door again. Right? And that's exactly how humanity got here too, is that we're disconnected from truth because we're denying our inner truth. We're denying. This is the Gemini energy. Gemini wants to express the truth. Gemini is empowered leaders that have a message for us. Leaders that are able to demonstrate a new way of leadership, of reading the people and giving them a message that they can grab a hold of and be inspired by. Really, really important. And these leaders coming back on the stage, the true leaders, true stars, the true inspirational energies that we need moving forward into this new age. So this is a massive activation of the true leaders. Supernova, reluctant leaders being called into their roles. This is part of this lining up for you. And the Mercury Retrograde and the mind, doing the mind control, facing the truths, rearranging your whole psyche and your whole life to point in the right direction finally again. And perhaps that means coming home, into your being. So now the sun is in Gemini. The moon will be in Gemini. Mercury retrograde will be coming up to the moon and the sun. So really powerful Mercury retrograde with the moon and the sun for this eclipse. Not too far out of square with Neptune. And so this eclipse is the culmination of this whole energy of this whole time. It was about this year, it was a few months ago last year that the North Node moved into Gemini. And so here we're coming to a culmination of what this all might mean. And mysteries being revealed and clarity coming. But we got to get through this time first, right? So this eclipse is a heightened peak of this energy. And with Mercury retrograde in Gemini as well, in square to Neptune. And we've got to break down all that mind control in order to claim back the spiritual revelation of what began the Piscean age, right? We have to remember that all of these forces that are trying to disconnect us from our soul essence and from our power are, it's been a long-term agenda and very much fits a Piscean age, but it's all a ramification. It's all like trying to go against the power of the light that's coming in. And this has been the whole play of events throughout the Piscean age. Massive flood of the Christ consciousness light coming in, and then control energies trying to stop it and block it, right? And we're getting to the point where those games aren't working anymore. We know who we are now. We're not playing. And that's you leading the way, because you have this soul essence. You've already experienced this higher expression of your intuitive gifts and skills. You might not remember consciously, but this is why you're still connected, and you managed to be connected through this time. And, we've got to reclaim this mystical, magical energy of the Piscean age, of what started the Piscean age, if we're ever going to get back, be able to move forward into the Aquarian age, right? It's like, we can't just, it's like, yeah, we got to heal the wounds and we got to break down the mind control and we got to, but it's really about that mystical spiritual revelation. And these squares to Neptune is bringing this tension. It's tension around spiritual purpose, meaning, right? And that disconnected feeling that humanity's grappling with, perhaps that is the road back to connection and to deeper truth and purpose and meaning. So, but that power, that feeling of disconnection is so strong in the collective right now, and it can feel overpowering. And that's where you come in, because you never lost your connection, and you're strong in that and righteous in your truth as an advanced soul, living, breathing, bringing that light down into the darkest places of your cellular DNA programming, and stepping into your true path in being the living, breathing example of true connection, right? This is the trick. When we feel connected to each other, we feel connected to Source. When we connected to Source, we feel connected to each other. We've connected to ourself, our true, bigger self that's trying to land home. And there's a huge energy for this with this Mercury. The reluctant leaders stepping forward, the voice of humanity coming back, the truth coming back, released from thousands of years of DNA control, and lining up with your destiny, which is just to be in this truth, So the energies that are available that seem to be coming forward for the soul group session that will be happening on the day before this eclipse on Wednesday, June 9th, at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. And that'll be exactly 12 hours before the exact solar eclipse. So we'll be able to really set a powerful intention and energy for this lining up, this divine timeline. So the energies are, with this Mars opposite Pluto leading up, it's like the power of your nurturing and your energy and connection that you haven't lost, versus where you've given your power away and said, no, I won't access my dynamic healing power. And where we've got that so powerful because, Mars opposite Pluto, and then Venus in Cancer square Chiron in Aries. So this cardinal T energy is like a new start, and it's about the power of healing and the power of intuition, the power of the psychic healing, the power of the feminine, and where we gave our power away, and can we nurture ourselves back into wholeness and get on with this story. So But we're being shown, so a great opportunity in this soul group session for authority contract clearing that happened as well in the last eclipse session. And timeline alignment, divine timeline alignment, huge, finding direction, clarity, purpose, connection. These are all on the table, soul retrieval. And so I hope you'll consider joining that soul group session, a group intuitive session. This is where we look at shared past life pictures and energies as a way to bring information, healing, clearing to the group. Opportunities for soul group work, as well as timeline alignment, soul retrieval. It's all on the table. This is just incredibly powerful energy. So I hope you'll consider working with me on that. And if you can't make the live event, you just know that the replay is available for you whenever you can make it there. So I hope to see you there on that soul group session for this Gemini solar eclipse, a culmination energy of this whole last year and a half of astrology. And we'll see what comes up, but hang in there. The tide is turning, the walls are breaking down, the truth is coming forward, and you are the living, breathing example of that truth in reality, what it means to be fully human and fully back home in your power. So thank you so much for being with me. I super appreciate your coming to these events, bringing your energy, being a part of the soul group, SuperNova Soul Tribe. More information about that in the box below, the best way to support this work. So thank you so much, SuperNova Souls. I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.